Ladies and gentlemen, new graphics cards are coming ridiculously soon, and the time to start planning is well and truly now. New graphics card launches usually bring a whole new suite of features and options to the table, and bring older cards down in price on both the new and used markets. And throughout this video, we're going to be talking about the new Nvidia 50 series that is literally right around the corner. We're going to be discussing price, availabilities, performance, and obviously go over all of the rumors so you know what to expect and whether to maybe get something now or save your money and get something then. Not to mention the fact that we've also got new Intel GPUs coming very, very soon, if rumors are to be believed, as well as ones from AMD. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's go through literally everything right after a short word from this video's sponsor. Corsair's new iQ-Link Titan RX coolers have arrived, bringing high-performance cooling to your gaming PC. Thanks to the iQ-Link ecosystem and interconnecting Corsair RX fans, installation is a breeze. It's compatible with both new and existing Intel and AMD chips, and thanks to the high static pressure fans and the new flow drive cooling engine pump, you can expect to game hard or staying cool and quiet. Learn more about this incredible cooler today with a link down below. Now, the last few weeks have seen a sea of information open up all about 50 series, in particular the RTX 5070 and the RTX 5070 Ti. We've actually already done a massive video all about the 5080 and 5090, again including like price, specs, availability, performance. You can find that video in the top right corner of your screen, but today we're focusing on the upper mid-range. Now, the RTX 5070 Ti does look to be a decent improvement over the original 4070 Ti that it technically replaces, as it will use the new GB203 GPU, which is going to be a cut-down version of what they also use on the RTX 5080. We're set to have 8,960 CUDA cores, 70 SMs, and 16 GB of VRAM on a 256-bit memory bus. Now, I think it's fair to say that these specs don't exactly set the world on fire. I mean, if you keep in count, there's a 6% CUDA core increase versus the outgoing 4070 Ti Super, but obviously a bigger gain versus the original 4070 Ti that was already the renamed 4080 12 gig. But one of the big things, I suppose, that they are changing with this generation is at least that we are getting faster memory. So we're stepping up to GDDR7 up from GDDR6 or 6X. Of course, we will likely see a decent gain in performance from the architecture changes and the move to Blackwell, though I'm not getting myself too excited here, as the process node that it's built on isn't exactly crazily different to 40 series. But to Nvidia's credit, they can compensate for this by actually adding a little bit more power inside, and because every architecture has a different efficiency curve, it might be that you can actually get a lot more performance out of this just by adding a small amount more power. This might not have made a massive difference on 40 series, but 50 series, the curve might be a little bit more up, right? So I guess if this works, then great, and on the 5070 series, it doesn't look as if it's going to be like a crazy difference in terms of power, and I would still wager that real-world power is probably going to be about the same rather than just what's rated. But as soon as you step up to something like the 5090, then yes, that does look like it's going to be using loads more power and give you loads more performance, but I wouldn't worry about your electricity bill too much if you're looking to upgrade, because as I say, at this end, not crazy differences. In terms of other specs, well, this generation is also going to step it up to PCIe Generation 5 for its board connections, and it's also going to feature DisplayPort 2.1, which is going to be great for even higher resolution displays and faster gaming screens. Though, to be fair, the benefits of this obviously reduce the further down the stack that you go. And obviously the big question here is going to be all about pricing, and if it replaces the 4070 Ti Super, it will come in at around about $799, so a lot of money. I wouldn't say that they have any reason to drop the price down. However, because this architecture isn't crazily different, and I would wager that in terms of like raw rasterization performance, you're probably only looking like 10, maybe 15% on this versus the previous generation. I would say, to me, that says they're going to keep the price the same, or if we're really lucky, they might drop it down to like 749 or something like that. You've got to remember, it's all about demand. How many cards are Nvidia selling? And because AI is becoming like this massive thing at the moment, you can kind of bet your cotton socks that they probably put a load of AI features in here. And if they can start selling these to people that are using AI applications rather than just gamers, then they're not going to need to drop the prices down, because they're selling loads of gaming GPUs anyway. And if they can start selling them to people that will use them for, I don't know, work or HR and finance, then yes, they're going to take every opportunity to do that. So yeah, I reckon the same sort of price, $799. Again, obviously take all of this with a pinch of salt. I don't have insider information, these are just rumors, and something else that is currently unknown is the release date. But as Nvidia always release the 80 and 90 first, and it looks as if this is going to be announced at CES in January, probably start to come out in February, I'd say that you're looking at least a month buffer, so maybe mid-March, early to mid-April for the 5070 series. So yeah, not exactly the most exciting launch in the world potentially. I still think it'd be a great all-round card, make no bones about it, and as we've already mentioned, if this then means that the prices on the previous generation start to come down, there are going to be some great deals to be had. But it's all about pricing and performance, which obviously we're not 100% sure on. Again, versus the card it replaces, the 4070 Ti Super, probably around about 10-15% rasterization, but then also probably like a bigger boost when it comes to ray tracing and DLSS. And Nvidia do always surprise everyone usually with some extra feature. So last time around it was DLSS frame gen, 20 series we had DLSS, the original, and ray tracing. So I imagine there will be some reasons to buy these cards other than just raw performance that Nvidia will throw at us. But my fear is, as I say, that they become more AI for everyone rather than like gaming focused. But hey, if we can have a GPU that does everything, fantastic. And if the price does come down, Nvidia surprises everyone, then we're all going to be pretty happy about it. But I think it's going to be a very safe launch. I think it's going to be the same price, decent performance, but nothing groundbreaking. And this was the good news. Just wait until we talk about our next GPU, the 5070. Oh, and oh boy, do I have some bad news for you. The RTX 5070 looks to be potentially less powerful than the 4070 Super, and yet still comes with 12 gigabytes of VRAM. I've written some notes down here for you. Complain about Nvidia. That's literally what it says on my screen now, because, like, the reason I've not been recommending the 4070 and the 4070 Super to everyone really, the 4070 has been okay at the right price, but that 12 gigabytes of VRAM, it's right at the point where you start to get into like high-end GPUs and you want this card to last a long time, you want to be able to play at 1440p, 4K DLSS, ray tracing, all of these things, and the performance was like almost there. The frame gen performance was almost there, and then the VRAM amount, 12 gig, was kind of fine now, but definitely not going to be fine into the future if you want to use all of these bells and whistles. And Nvidia kind of want it like both ways. They want to promote all of this ray tracing and path tracing and all of these DLSS AI features, but then as soon as you talk about VRAM, they say, no, this is a 1440p card. Or if you remember the 4060 Ti, that was a 1080p card. Like, you can't have it both ways, Nvidia. I don't know how much memory modules are, but we all know, because AMD have been doing it for ages, that if you want to put more memory in these GPUs and still make money, you can absolutely do it. And I think 12 gigabytes for a card that's almost certainly still going to cost around about £500 of dollars is a joke. It's an absolute joke, and it means that already AMD's offerings on this current gen kind of look even better, but I just think it's a way for Nvidia to segment the market deliberately, just to push you up to that 4070, that's going to be a bad habit, 5070 Ti Super. So yes, and again, just to reiterate, VRAM holds all of your textures and all of your game settings essentially. Everything goes into this like GPU memory, and the higher up the resolution you go and the more like ray tracing features, the more settings you turn up, the more memory you need. And there are plenty of games now that are really high end and do require a lot of VRAM, and 12 gig is not enough for the 4070 in every single scenario. But it was kind of okay because that card didn't necessarily have enough power to use all of those settings anyway. Whereas if you're going to bring out in 2025 a 5070 that is going to have more power, is going to be able to obviously play more games at higher end settings, but then you're going to be limited by the VRAM, there's no reason for that whatsoever. And if this rumor is true, it's going to be really hard to recommend. Unless the price is low. Again, Nvidia might be nice and drop the prices. We can pray. Oh, anyway, going back to the numbers though, we probably should inform you that we're going to have 6,400 CUDA cores, which is kind of halfway between the 4070 and the 4070 Super, and then a boost to the power consumption, 250 watts up from 200 and 220 from the 4070 Super. So definitely a fair step up, and in terms of performance, it's probably realistically going to be like a 4070 Super at a 4070 price, and then throw in some extra AI features, better like ray tracing. Again, a decent package. Hopefully at a decent price, I imagine $499 again, but that 12 gigabytes of VRAM, it's incredibly limiting, and if I'm already on the fence about whether to recommend 4070 and 4070 Super, definitely the 4070 Super, then I can't see this changing my mind unless there's some like memory compression algorithm that dramatically reduces the amount of memory that you need, but I mean, probably not. The other thing as well to note is that because we're moving to these faster memory modules, what we've seen before on previous launches, and what we're probably going to see again, is if this does start to sell well across the stack, then we might start to see, well, scalping and things again, because the manufacturing may well start to get limited by the availability of these memory modules. There have actually been some recent rumors that Nvidia are going to be favoring Samsung. Some people say only going for Samsung. So again, this would limit the amount of memory pool, if you like, good joke, that they actually had available to put into these cards. So I am a little bit concerned here, but to be fair, if the 5070 is not going to be great, then you just don't have to buy it anyway. But again, take everything with a pinch of salt. We don't know, we're just going off of the rumors that we have on hand. It looks as if the 5090 is probably going to be insane, and then everything else is going to be just kind of like a repeat of what we've got now, but slightly better. Please, Nvidia, watch this video, laugh at me, lower down the price, and then I will be singing your praises. But unless there's some crazy features that come out, it looks a bit mid. Maybe then it's time that we all paid a little bit more attention to AMD, and they are actually going to be counting with their next-gen GPUs, and rumors point to an announcement in January at CES alongside Nvidia. But there won't be a 5090 or 5080 competitor, and for all we know, it could be true with the 5070 series. We don't know what their top end is actually going to look like. Now, scrolling back into the PC-centric archive to find you some very old footage, the last time AMD adopted this approach was the excellent RX 480, which had amazing price to performance and was really easy to recommend. So maybe while at the high end, Nvidia is going to enjoy a bit of a monopoly, at the entry to mid-range, where most people actually buy and play, things could be really about to kick off. And on this topic actually of more affordable gaming, the good news doesn't stop there, because it looks like Intel are actually about to finally release Arc 2 in December. How about that? All rumours point to the admittedly rather cool sounding Battlemage cards, starting with a B580, and this has started leaking on retailers' websites with a price of roughly $250. It's going to use the BGM G21 GPU and clock in at almost double the last gen at 2.8 GHz across its 20 Xe2 cores. The 192-bit memory bus is fine for this price range, as is the 12 GB of VRAM, which is plenty for 1080p and 1440p gaming, even with a little bit of light ray tracing. PCI Generation 5 is present too, but again, at this level, nothing to worry about, as it is backwards compatible with 4 and shouldn't have too much performance to really make it matter. And then obviously the big question then is all about performance. What can we expect for this? Well, the good news is that in order for Intel to actually be releasing this at $250, they've got to be pretty confident that it can do two things: undercut the competition and also be better than it, because it can't just be the same because they're Intel. They've had these issues in the past. They need to do something to make people go, you know what, I'm going to take a punt on Intel this time, rather than sticking to the AMD or Nvidia cards that I know. So if it's coming in at around about £250 or dollars or so, then in terms of the performance that it offers, it's probably matching a card that's about £325 or so. So maybe somewhere between 4060 Ti performance, and then probably something similar to a 7600 XT, sorry. So for what we actually need, which is a GPU to play games on, to be able to play our Fortnites, our Warzones, our Apex, you want something that has loads of multiplayer performance. You don't want to spend too much money on it, and this is where Intel really could make a big difference, and I guess start to see other prices and things drop. But maybe this is one of the reasons the rumors also peg the 5060 to be coming sooner than it usually would, because if this Intel card is good and AMD also have good competition, prices will start to come down. But this hasn't really happened as much as I would have liked to see. We're just about starting to see cards around about like the $160, $170 mark, but a lot of those are Intel Arc cards, so we're just going to have to wait and see. And obviously the success of all of these graphics card releases are going to come down to you. What are you going to buy or not buy? What is the right price? What is the right performance? What do you need? And do you even need a new graphics card in the first place? I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this, because as I say, these cards, they will see success, they'll live or die based on what you buy. So is there anything in particular you've been waiting for? I don't know, let us know down in the comment section below. Let's get a little discussion going on. Don't forget, I will be reviewing all of these cards when they release, so just subscribe down below if you're not already, and you can find all of the builds, all of the benchmarks straight to your inbox as soon as they arrive. But in the meantime, meantime, smash the like button if you've enjoyed this, get yourself subscribed, and if you do want to check out the very best GPU and CPU combos you can get right now, I'll leave loads of them linked down below with my affiliate links. And while you're down there, why not bask in the RGB brilliance of the iQ-Link Titan RX coolers? This next generation of Corsair all-in-ones look absolutely stunning, with 20 RGB LEDs on the pump head and 8 per RX fan for jaw-dropping visuals. You also get interchangeable cap swap for proper custom styles. Connecting it together is dead simple too, all thanks to Corsair iQ-Link, and it comes in black or white, 240, 280 and 360 sizes. Get your call on today, learn more with the link below. But thank you guys so much for watching, we'll catch you in the next one.